Well, a shocking new report, but maybe not shocking because we've known this from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows that autism is up 16.1% since the last time they checked. The numbers are now shocking. It's enough to scare any parent out there that 1 in 31 children in the United States has autism. Here is the report. You should read it for yourself. U.S. HHS, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. held a press conference today. And one thing I noticed is that he may be turning the tables on people who accuse him of being an anti-vaxxer. So nobody likes name calling, but he's been subjected to this. He's not an anti-vaxxer. He likes to look at the vaccines one by one, and he asks questions of how do they work together? Do they have contraindications? Have they been thoroughly studied? Asking those questions has earned him the title of anti-vaxxer, but now he is calling anyone who calls him that an epidemic denier. You see what we're doing here? You call me an anti-vaxxer, I'm going to call you an epidemic denier. How does that feel? Doesn't feel so good, does it? Here's what he says about the fact that there is an autism epidemic.
Epidemic denial has become a feature in the mainstream media, and it's based on an industry canard. And obviously, there are people who don't want us to look at environmental exposures. And so I want to just read you some of a little excerpts from some of the older studies. The baseline for autism in this country was established with the biggest, largest epidemiological study in history, a study of all 900,000 children in the state of Wisconsin, children under the age of 12. They found 0.7 children had autism in every 10,000. That's less than 1 in 10,000. Today we're at 1 in 31. That study also confirmed the 4-to-1 male to female ratio. There were at that time just over 60 children in Wisconsin with autism. And today it's around 20,000. In 1987, there was another exhaustive study, a peer-reviewed study in North Dakota, set out to count every child in the state with a pervasive developmental disorder, including autism. That study meticulously combed through every record, every diagnosis, and he even conducted in-person assessments of the entire population of 180,000 children under 18. The autism rate they found was 3.3 per 10,000. So that's in line with the 1 in 10,000 that was found in Wisconsin 17 years earlier. For context, today the last number of 1 in 36 is 83 times higher. In 1987, out of every 1 million kids, 330 were diagnosed with autism. Today, there are 27,777 for every million. If you accept the epidemic denier's narrative, you have to believe that researchers in North Dakota missed 98.8% of the children with autism. That thousands of profoundly disabled children were somehow invisible to doctors, teachers, parents, and even their own study. The same researchers who followed the original cohort for 12 years to double-check their number, they went back in 2000 and found that they had missed exactly one child. So doctors and therapists in the past were not stupid. They weren't missing all these cases. The epidemic is real.
Okay.
Yeah, people in the chat are like, yeah, what about the Amish people that have no autism at all? That's not true. They have way less But they do. There's cases of autism in the Amish community. It's not zero, but it's significantly less. So why? Maybe we should figure that out.
Well, I have lingering questions from this report, and from this report is not appropriate to jump to any conclusions. And Secretary Kennedy did not. He did not talk about vaccines. He talked about environmental factors. He says that there is a canard. There are people who don't want them to look into environmental factors, but we have suspicions, of course, of toxins in the water, toxins in the food. Yes, toxins in medicines that we take and vaccines. Those are questions that we should be asking, not actively avoiding while our children suffer because we are too scared to look in that right direction. He said in a statement, autism is preventable and it is unforgivable that we have not yet identified the underlying causes, and we should have had these answers 20 years ago. Refusing to look into those questions has made our children suffer. So we should feel very guilty for that collectively. I still have many lingering questions. For instance, from the report, why would some states have such higher rates than others? It's not just because these states are bigger, but why do they have more incidents per 1,000 people? California, super high incidence of autism. What do Californians do that maybe people in Texas do not, that leads to triple, in some cases quadruple, if you look at the type of autism diagnosis? Pennsylvania, what are you guys doing there? What is it, right? I don't have answers. I'm just asking. Someone needs a hypothesis. Also, what could explain that some ethnic groups have growing rates of autism that are growing faster than whites? It says overall prevalence among Black, Asian, and Hispanic children in this group was 3.5%, 3.11, 3.82, respectively, compared to just 2.04 among white children. So what's happening in these minority groups that is not happening? Again, I don't have the answers. It can't all be one thing. It has to be a confluence of several different things. And these are things that we need to look into. And he's saying now we will. He didn't specify how, though.
One of the research reports that I studied or that I looked at on the Amish, because people are saying, no, there's zero in the Amish community. That's not true unless there's some new study that shows it's zero. But a study from 2008, 2009 looked at thousands of Amish children in Ohio and Indiana. And out of these, only 25 children had autism. Thousands of kids they looked at, and only 25. And 7 were confirmed with a diagnosis using standard diagnostic tools. So it's about 1 in 271 out of this group, rather than 1 out of 31, what RFK Jr. just said, which is remarkable.
But given these trends, I don't know, what would your hypothesis be? Why California? Why are you suffering so much from autism in California?
People are
Why
saying, well, chemtrails,
groups? Maybe
heavy metals in the air, heavy toxic chemicals in the air. You know, we were in Los Angeles last week, my son and I said, as we came through the Sepulveda Pass, you come down, or you come north? Yeah, you come up from Burbank, come down through the Sepulveda Pass. I said, I warned him. I said, you're going to see Los Angeles for the first time, or you're going to see Santa Monica area, and you're going to see like massive amount of haze just floating over it, smog, and also onshore flow and other things like that. But yeah, just all these like heavy metals just like floating in the atmosphere right there. And we came through the pass, and my son goes, holy smokes. Like you could see just like this mist, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I've only been there. I've only been to LA once, and that was one of the first things I said when we got off the plane. I was like, oh my God, you can taste it. You can taste LA, like just in the air.
Yeah.
It's just like, I did not care for it.
And of course, that's just LA, but it's massively populated. I mean, I would assume.
No, I'm from Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area. We could regularly have blackout days on PE because the smog was too bad.
Jeez.
So.
Yeah, so maybe that's part of it. I don't exactly know, but we need to get to the bottom of it for sure. 1 in 31 children. And I like his take on this, that you're an epidemic denier if you don't want to call attention to it. Yeah, it's absolutely the case.
Let's use that. If someone pushes back and says, oh, it's not these things. Okay, you're an epidemic denier. How do you like that?
How do you like the
How do you
feeling
like
of
the
that?
name calling? I will use it.